Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on which time zone you're joining us from, and a warm welcome to each one of you. Thank you so much for taking your time to join this session. All right, so a topic for today is personal branding is important in today's world. So, in this session, we will focus on the concept and importance, the step towards creating a profile, how to be successful, skills that you're curious about, however, yet to build, and enhancing your online presence. So before we proceed, I would like to introduce our speaker for today, Ms. Snehal Dhanashri. She is an experienced professional with over 22 years of expertise in training, mentoring, and coaching. With a background in voice and non-voice based functions, Snehal has trained across various hierarchies in esteemed organizations like Capgemini, Accenture, and L&T Infotech, specializing in a wide range of topics, including communication, time management, and leadership. Snehal has a passion for empowering individuals and teams. With proficiency in Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Power BI, Snehal creates impactful training content. And without any further ado, I'd like to hand over the session to Ms. Snehal.
Thank you, dear. Thank you so much for a warm welcome. And a very good afternoon, good morning, good evening to all the participants who have joined this session. And we will be discussing a lot about personal branding today. And if we are ready, let's go ahead and start this session. But before I do that, can I have a quick a greeting from you guys? And if you are ready, you can, even show me a thumbs up. Waiting for your thumbs up. Okay, I can see a lot of them. Joshua, Amrish saying yes. Sachit says yes. I'm waiting for others to raise their hands or give me a thumbs up so that I can start the session. So I would not take you again through the introduction of mine, guys, and take your time. But what we're going to do today is we would be learning something very, very important that's not going to only help me understand who am I. It's also going to help me build my brand, right? So kindly confirm if you're able to hear me, you're able to see me. Everybody?
Yes, we're able to see you.
Yeah. Great. Let's go ahead and let me share my screen with you. Are you all able to see my screen?
Yes, it's perfect.
Great. Okay. Just give me a quick second so I can start sharing my screen. And before I do that, okay, so let me start a session with a quick short story. And this story is about a speaker, a well-respected speaker who started a webinar just like the way I started. So the story is not mine, and I will let you know why the story is important for us. So this well-respected speaker, he began a seminar by showing an audience of 150 people. 150 people were there in this webinar. So he showed a $20 bill to them, and he asked them who needs that $20. Everybody raised their hand and they said that we want this $20. I said, okay, fine. To the audience surprised, what he did, he crumpled that $20 bill. And then he asked the speakers again, okay, now who need this bill? What do you think the people would have done? The people said, they still raised their hand and they said, we need this. We need this $20 bill. He looked at the crowd and he said, okay, some of you from the crowd would be getting this $20 bill, but give me a minute. The speaker dropped the $20 bill on the ground and he stomped on the bill all over it. And then he raised it in the air and showed the bill again. Now this $20 was a little filthy, right? He still asked the people a question. Does anyone want it now? what do you think the people would have said? Said that they still want it, right? So why do you still feel that the people wanted that filthy $20 bill? What could have been uh, the idea that they had in their mind? Why do I need this $20 bill? Anybody can message. Mm-hmm. Yes, guys, you can message. I want you to start messaging. Oh, the chat is disabled. Okay.
Oh, the chat is disabled. Yeah.
Whoa. Can we make the chat live? Can they type in their answers?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's wait for them to answer.
Yeah. So are you able to access the chat now?
Just check and confirm, team. Are you able to?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
So anybody who has an answer can raise the hand and I'll mute them.
Okay, let's do that. So who would like to tell me that what was the reason people still wanted to go with that $20 bill? What if I have that bill in my hand and I say, who would like to go for it? Yes.
Not able to unmute them.
Not able to unmute them.
The chat's still disabled.
It's still disabled. Okay,
Yeah.
just give us a quick minute here. Soumya, are you trying to?
Yes, yes. I think you can also post it in the question and answer tab for now. So
Can we do that? Team, can we do that? Can we post our answers in the question and answer section?
Yes, I think that's open. Yeah.
Okay. The value? Absolutely, Anusha. Good job done. Yes, because whatever the current, the $20 bill was in a state of, it was filthy, it was, crumpled. The speaker proceeded to tell the crowd that no matter what he did to ruin the money, right? People still wanted it because of its value remained the same. That was worth $20. And what's the moral of the story? Life often beats up with a lot of circumstances that we go through, right? The circumstances can be good, can be bad, can be beautiful, can be ugly. And depending on the circumstances, we do even make choices in our life, right? However, no matter what you go through, your value will always remain the same, right? And you have always something very special to offer that no one can take from you. And on the very same note, guys, I would like you to welcome to today's session of personal branding, where we would be talking about how do I create a brand for myself? How do I add something special in my skills with my abilities, where people would love to follow you, people would love to see the value that you add to yourself, right? And with this, welcome to the presentation, personal branding. And I'm very sure this personal branding is very, very important in the competitive world that we come from, right? Which is very crowded. It is very, very important for us to stand out. Not only stand out, but at times it becomes complicated for me to understand what are my values, what are my skills, what are my abilities. It is messy at times to discover the identity that I come with, right? It is difficult at times to find a job. Say, for example, I'm sure I have a mixed group here, probably people who are in their early 30s, people who might be in the late 40s, and you all would have experienced that when you go through an interview, right? The recruiter would like to see your profile, he would like to see your social visibility, right? He would like to see what are the skills and abilities that you comes with, right? And that is very, very important when we try to discover ourselves. We try to find out the best of ourselves. And I completely believe that this personal branding has become one of the key requirements for us to be a differentiator for the people who are entering into the corporate world or the people who have already made their mark in this corporate world, right? Um, for example, if I talk about your social branding, right? So, what are the websites or what are the platforms that you see where you can build your brand? Can somebody help me with uh, the platforms that where you can build your personal brand? Apart from your resume, apart from what you are and how you project to people around you. Okay. Are we typing the answer?
Yeah, Selvakumar says LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, absolutely. The LinkedIn profile, the blogs, right? Your Twitter, your Insta, you are there making your presence alive, right? So LinkedIn is one place which we are gonna go and discuss in detail in the next upcoming sessions, guys. That how do I build my online professional presence? It's very, very important. So why this personal branding or how this personal branding helps me is when I go ahead with a resume of mine, right? It's your job to design and build your online presence, right? But what it reflects your personal brand is that you need to work on, right? And in today's session, we are going to talk about these strategies. We are talking about the concept of personal branding, the importance of in today's world. And yes, if I have made my personal brand, how do I create a personal brand vision statement? Because this is something that's going to help me to make people aware of who I am and what I am, right? So on my next screen, what do you see here? So we can see two coffees, right? One coffee is from Starbucks and one coffee is has no brand, right? So the coffee which comes with no brand, right? It is a commodity, right? Which competes on price. However, the one which is with a brand, it shows value, right? Brand delivers quality and commodity competes on price. Now, showing your job title acts like a commodity, right? Wherein if you add value to it, it becomes a brand, right? And with that, we need to understand how do I stand out from the rest of the people and how do I differentiate myself. So let's go ahead and see how to stand out and differentiate yourselves. There are three things that we need to focus on. One is the brand that we're talking about. One is the personal branding that we're talking about. And in detail, we would also go ahead and see the steps to create a brand vision statement. Now, we have discussed that online branding is something which is very, very important, but is that the only thing that we come with? Of course not, right? My personal brand involves what people think about me, what they talk about me, even if I am not a part of a particular room or a discussion. If I am present, I am absent, what are the combinations? What are the unique combinations that I come with, right? My talents, my strengths, my skills, my values, and the experiences that makes me different from the other person. It's very, very important for me to understand what you stand for. Why do you get out of your bed every morning? I am sure these are a couple of questions that keeps haunting me at times when I wake up with no goal in my mind. When I have nothing to do, I'm like, okay, fine. What's the plan for the day? What am I gonna do? What are the things that I'm gonna do to add value to my day to day? And that's the question that haunts me. I also try and think what is something that brings me joy? How many of us thinks about what is something that I do that gets me joy? What's my passion? What's my hobby? Right? Do we get these questions of how do I make myself better in the industry that I come from? So these are the questions that always comes to my mind, and these responses are the responses which are not only the questions that haunt me, but they create or they largely shape your personal brand. How they shape your personal brand is when we understand what are my unique strengths, what are my talents, and what is the authenticity that I come with. When in most of the interviews, when I ask people, what are your strengths? People are like, strengths. Okay, the weakness. So there's a thinking process that's going on, right? Wherein I am asking about their strengths, their weaknesses, their SWOT. So how many of us are comfortable understanding that, yes, I do come with these areas of improvement. And what I need to do best is I need to make the most of the opportunities and convert it into my strength. How many of us work on our strengths and weaknesses? How many of us ensure that, yes, there's something that I need to work, I need to give myself, I need to do this self-analysis, right? So this is very, very important that I understand what are my strengths, right? A very quick activity that you can always do is making these 4 quadrants of strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, which kinds of helps you understand where you are, what you need to do, what are the unique strengths that you come with, and how can you make the best of them, right? To establish a strong personal brand, the most important thing is you need to invest in yourself, right? You need to invest in yourself not only for a short term relationship, but for a long term. It is a long term strategy that helps you become an expert in your field. It helps you to be a practitioner. If some of you are leaders who are managing a team or who are working with people here, it becomes very important for you to be a thoughtful leader wherein you are being with your team. It's not okay, fine, you have understood the goal and let's run towards the same objective. Most of the time, people are not even aware of what the objective is, right? And in a resume with the objective, we very clearly mention seeking for an XYZ profile to contribute to the best of my skills uh, and be a part of achieving company's objectives. I do not know what are my objectives. Care about me adding value to the company's objectives. So if you want to create a personal brand, there are 3 important things that you need to focus on. You need to focus on gaining trust. You need to focus on gaining recognition, a respect, and these 3 things as a result of a long-term commitment through learning and development, guys. To whatever you do, experimenting in your field, when I think about learning, developing, doing something good in my field, Oprah always comes to my mind because she has inspired millions of people in the journey of discovering their own potential, right? She has done it consistently over 2 decades. And she has also offered a lot of positive messages to the people around her. By doing what? By being herself, by knowing what her unique strengths are, her talents are, right? And that is what has helped her to build that personal brand. Team, I hope you all are with me and I am not going too fast for you. In this conversation of we interacting on personal branding, if you have any questions, I would please request you to write it down and then you can we can get into a Q&A session. Is that okay, everyone? With that, let's see how do I build my personal brand. The most important thing I need to understand is while I build my identity, I need to understand how and why branding is, what it is, how it is important for me. So branding is nothing but it's a unique promise of value. So personal plus branding is equal to your promise of value. I'll repeat myself, personal plus branding is your promise of value, where there are 3 most important things that you need to work on. You need to build trust, you need to create reputation, and with these 2 things, you can control perception. Now, you would say, Snehal, how does it really help me build a personal brand while I work on trust? Because this is the most important, or the trust is the basis for almost everything we do. It's the foundation on which our laws, our contracts are built. Why are you listening to me if you have no trust in me? Why would I have people who follow, or why am I able to lead if I'm not able to build trust in the people that I interact with, right? So this is very, very important. You all would have heard people saying, don't over promise and under deliver. right? Because it's the reason we are willing to exchange our hard-earned paychecks. If the organization doesn't have a trust in you, I am sure you would not be a part of it. If you do not have a trust factor in your personal relationship, I am sure the person would not be happy with you. And saying that, it is an input that makes possible for the leaders as well to create the condition for employees to be together, to realize their own capacity and power. And very well, Henry Ford has said that if you can't build your reputation, trust cannot be built, right? And how do I create reputation? Reputation is not something that is being created with what I say. It's about how people experience me around them, right? How true to how true I am with the character, with the personality, with the skills, with the competencies and the values that I come with, right? So when it comes to reputation, always remember, actions speak louder than words, right? The way you project yourself, right? What matters the most is what you do means more than what you say about yourself, right? So your actions would always have a higher impact on the people around you if you want to develop them or if you want to develop yourself, right? So reputation is a very, very critical aspect to your success. So you need to be aware that these elements that form my professional reputation are my personal characteristics, my personal branding. How do people judge me when I'm not at work? How do I keep the reputation consistent throughout the journey of mine with people? And that is only possible with when your brand is there with you, when you have a personal brand with you, right? And which is very, very important. So understanding how your actions and decisions affect your reputation, it is a part and parcel of creating your own personal brand. And believe me, developing a great reputation is an essential part of building a strong and positive relationship at work and in personal life. And it also helps us to create a positive brand image. When we talk about reputation, credibility always goes hand in hand, right? It has a great deal to establish your reputation by giving a name to yourself, by being well informed of who you are, what you are, right? And by knowing the person who can turn out to be a great help for others. And how can I do it? How can I create my reputation? How can I create trust around people? Is by controlling perceptions, right? Now, if you are not branding yourself, guys, people have already done that for you, right? So it's not very important that, okay, fine, I have not branded myself. So let me take some time and, let me be first successful. Let me achieve my goals. And then I would work on my branding. Absolutely not. If we wouldn't have been an age of internet where people are growing every minute, every second, people are focusing on their goals and objectives, I would have said, okay, fine, be successful, uh, achieve your goals, and then we would focus on branding. But now, in today's era, branding is something that doesn't have to do anything you being successful or you achieving your goals, right? So it is very, very important for us to understand the perception. And perception is what? It is about how you look at things. There might be a person who is not doing very great and he is unable to see that silver lining, right? So it is all about how you see the opportunity knocking your door, right? And if you're not able to do that, then we are not able to control perception. We are not able to create reputation. We are not able to create trust, build trust among us. And believe me, this is very easy and this is possible. It's not something magic. It's all about the mindset. Do I want to do it? A yes or a no. I'm sure I will just divert myself a minute from personal branding to mindset because this is the most important factor for us to understand that a fixed mindset is something that always comes with the pulling mechanisms, wherein I keep telling myself, oh, that's not my cup of tea, right? Let me not do that again. when I get a feedback from my manager, he has just not looked at the right what I have done. I have invested a lot of time, energy, my personal lives I have compromised, and see, he has just ignored everything. And this feedback is just not right for me. So this is a part of fixed mindset where I tell myself, okay, fine, let me be a good listener. Let me not involve myself in communicating with others. Wherein my growth mindset says, hey, you know what? Let me take this as a challenge and do something. Let me take this feedback as an area of opportunity for me to learn, grow, do something new with myself. And this fixed mindset and growth mindset are they're from the same brain that comes here, right? Which is a growing organ. Most of the times we do not even pay attention to this organ, right? There are a lot of information stored in my brain, right? So I keep forcing my hippocampus saying, do this, do this. You have to, you have to be successful in life. You have to have your short-term goal, long-term goal. And in the process of all this, I do not have the right attitude which bridges this fixed mindset and the growth mindset, right? So are if you are a person who comes with growth mindset, is only and only when you would be able to build trust, create reputation, you would be positive. It's very easy to say be in my shoes, right? But if you have to be in my shoes, you have to remove yours first, right? Say for example, when something happens, uh, if there is a breakup in a relationship or while going to office, there's a flat tire. I was expecting increment this year and I didn't get it. I was expecting promotion. I didn't get. So what do I do? Immediately, I would start labeling things, right? Immediate reaction is to label it good or bad, right? However, I do not understand what do I need to do to improve that particular situation. So yes, we can control perception by saying or by working on the growth mindset of us, right? And I completely believe the people who have built brand, right? Some of the successful people who have built brand, they are not from the great universities or they have not been a part of, great colleges. Take an example of, Einstein, right? He repeated his elementary grade, and people said that for Walt Disney, people said he lacks creativity. What if the people believed in themselves and said, okay, fine, this is what I am. Let me be what I am. I'm sure they wouldn't have created a brand for themselves. They wouldn't have been known for the inventions that they have done today, right? You take an example of Thomas Edison, 999 times when he failed. And when it was been asked in an interview, how do you feel failing 999 times? So he said, oops, I didn't fail 999 times. I am sure I learned these 999 times for the different ways of not creating a bug. So here the growth mindset comes in. And it is very, very important for me to see that silver lining when there are dark clouds. And that would only and only help if I come with a positive mindset. When I come with a growth mindset, which helps me believe in myself, understand my strengths, my values, and it helps me to build trust, reputation, and helps me to stop the perception where people are labeling me, right? When we look at these brands, right? I'm sure you all would have looked at the brands. Apple thinks different, IBM salts, Nike exalts, and Sony dreams. There is a very wonderful video of Simon Sinek who I follow a lot, and he has spoken about the why factor in our life, right? Why did you think that Apple kind of created a market or created their place in market when he was not the first one to come and deal with the laptops or the gadgets? So there was IBM who was already there in the market. There was Dell who was doing well. But there were people in my group who had kind of, exceeded their bills to buy Apple products. So what is that they did, right? If you guys have time after the session, please go ahead and look at this video. That's going to help you the why factor in your life, right? It's going to help you understand that why these companies or these brands have differentiated themselves from the others. And And it so goes with these personalities when I see on the screen, right? These people, they allowed themselves to differentiate from the crowd. By doing what? By doing only two things: by consistently articulating and leveraging their value. How many times do I sit and how I work on the brand that I come with? How many times do I understand if I'm doing something, why I need it? Who am I? Right? Uh, how many of us spend time with ourselves saying, okay, let me identify myself. Let me discover my identity. Let me discover who am I, right? By differentiating myself. How do I differentiate myself with others? With my skills, with the talents, with the knowledge, with the abilities that I come with. These are the factors which helps me differentiate myself from others, right? My interest. My interest can be different from yours. I belong to a training and development fraternity. So my interest is all about not only pushing people to achieve their goals, but also helping them to discover themselves. So that is something I like to, help them create their personalities. I help them understand how important my ethics and my values here are, because that is something that discovers my identity. Who am I? How do I differentiate myself? I'm sure you people might be, some of you might be from the software industry, some of you might be from an education background. So you have your different audiences, right? So when I have to differentiate myself from you, I have different audiences to cater to, right? You might be catering to your users. And you always say that what is the goal that I want to be? I want to make my user experience better. But why do I do that? Do I even know what my user experiences are, right? I before even I go ahead and ensure what is different from them, I need to understand my value that I have it when people are around me, right? Yes, the most important thing is keeping your online visibility is very, very important, which as I said earlier that we're gonna cover in the upcoming sessions, wherein you not tell only the people from your fraternity, but you also tell your customers how you help them, how you care about them, right? This personal branding canvas, guys, we're going to work towards the end. So I would be going ahead and skipping this slide for you so that you are connected and we can work it effectively. It's very, very important to understand that, yes, I have a goal, I have a dart. I need to understand how do I need to create my personal brand, right? What you do matters, but how you do is very, very important. And while you're doing, how crucial the process is when you are a part of it. There are many leaders that I come across in my sessions who say, Snehal, it's my way or highway. And I'm sure that doesn't work, right? There are so many team members who come to me and say, hey, Snehal, you know what? At times I do not know what the goals and objectives I am looking for, because there was no clarity from my leader to my team saying that, okay, fine, you know what, you are a fresher, you are from an industry where you have no knowledge. Let me tell you how to achieve this goal. So what's happening? Everybody is running on different tracks. One of my team member is running faster than me. One of the team member is somewhere behind, right? And then I'm expecting, yes, guys, let's run on different tracks and achieve different objectives. That doesn't work, right? So we all need to be on the single track, and how that is possible if a leader is able to build his own personal brand. Now, you do not have to be a leader to have your personal brand, is when people should believe you. People should add value to what you say, and they would only do it when you add value to us. With every word that you use, with everything that you do differently, is when you add value, is when you build your personal brand. And there are these 5 questions which are very, very important. I know if I have to build a brand for myself, I have to achieve my goals, right? So yes, while achieving my goal, I need to be smart enough. I use my SMART goals, and I'm sure most of you might be aware of these SMART goals of being specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. We all are aware of this. This is something that probably we would have heard it from our childhood, that yes, this is your goal. You have to target this. Most of the time, team, the trouble is of not achieving a goal, right? We spend a complete life running up and down the field. And at times we see that we have never scored, right? So do you ever feel I worked hard for a particular task, but I'm not getting anywhere, right? Many people spend their lives drifting from one job to another, and they even have a question, Snehal, while we are working on personal branding, what happens if I change my organization? It's simple. Wherever you go, right? Whichever field you join, you will have a value with yourself. You need to be a little smart enough to understand what are the strengths that I can probably use in a different job that I am doing right now. What are the skills that I can use in a different organization where I can. Your value remains the same, your personal branding remains the same. And it's a long-term relationship that you have it with yourself, right? And most of the times, these SMART goals, they help us to not only achieve our goals, but it helps us to give a lot of clarity of who am I, how do I need to achieve my goal. I have a lot of pulling mechanism while I'm at work, right? Okay, the deadlines, my personal relationships, the baggages that I carry to my office. At times, it doesn't allow me to focus effectively. Forget about the personal branding here. I'm not able to focus on my goals that I have to achieve. So the first step to do that, to get to a level where I start working on my vision statement is when I have achieved something in life, right? Is when I have ensured that the goals which I wanted to achieve are very clear, they are very realistic, they are very I know how do I attain them, and how do I attain them is by being simple, is by being sensible, is by being significant. Do I know what my goals are? There are a lot of things on my platter. There are a lot of things that I want to do. But if I do not prioritize my my liabilities or my responsibilities, my goals, I'm sure I would not be able to measure them. I would not be motivated enough to go ahead and measure my goals. So that's very, very important. I need to agree with myself. Say, for example, a person wants to reduce his weight, right? So he says, okay, 130 is what I am at this month. If I'm not realistic with my goal, and if I say, hey, you know what, in another 3 months, I would reach myself to nearly 90. Is it possible? Are you even realistic? Have you agreed yourself on the term of following a right diet, following a right exercise? Have you thought about how would you attain that goal? Absolutely not. Are you reasonable enough, realistic enough to understand what are the resources that I need to probably get from 130 to 100, right? Have I given a time for myself? You know, right? So your goal should not be only clear, it should be specific. Otherwise, you won't be able to focus and attain what you are looking for. So always have these questions. These W questions always comes to my mind. What do I want to accomplish in life? Where do I want to go? Why is this goal important for me? Why am I working on my personal branding? Where it is located? Is it internal or external, right? Who is involved when I'm working on my personal branding? My family, my peers, my colleagues, my bosses, my customers, my external teams whom I'm working with. What are the resources or the limits that I am involved in, right? So these questions, the W questions really play a very, very important role, right? And if I have to measure a goal, I need to understand how much, how many, how will I know whether I will be able to accomplish? If I'm able to accomplish, would I be able to add that value to my brand, right? And what is the value? My value. I'm not over promising and under delivering. If I have committed something to my customer, and if I do not do it in time, my reputation goes for a task. What happens to the credibility that I have built? Which are the three pillars for my personal branding? The trust I have already lost with my customers. So the trust, the rapport building, the credibility is gone. So I am not able to achieve or I am not able to build my personal brand. You might be thinking what goals has to do with personal branding, but it is very, very important for you to control the tasks that you do. You are responsible for each and everything that you do, how you do, the time that you do, right? Um, And it's very, very important to understand why am I doing this? Most of the times when I am a part of interviews and I ask people a simple question, you know, what are you passionate about? And I get expressions like, I'm asking about their passion, right? What motivates you? So people have a tendency to not think about themselves. We do not give time to ourselves. And believe me, this motivation, this happiness, embracing your happiness is something that's very, very important for the journey of your personal branding. Because if you do not know what makes you remarkable, it's no point of we believing in a brand or we differentiating us from others. I want to be known as a happy person, right? When I delivered a baby, I always wanted to be known as a mother who's always on toes and not to be a mother who's with these, black screen, spending time with it. At the end of the day, I cannot ask my child that do not play with the phone. Throughout the day, I was sitting with the phone. So this is what I have to inculcate a value in someone. I need to have my personal value. I need to be remarkable. I need to understand what motivates me and what stands me different from the people that I am with. This is the canvas that we're going to come a little later to. But before that, we spoke about personal branding, why it is important. There are these 5 rules that's going to help you focus on your personal branding, and it's going to help you to be consistent with what you are and who you are by being relevant, by being specific, by understanding yourself. There's if somebody asks me a question, what's something interesting about you, the first thing that comes to my mind is what I'm passionate about, right? So when I have to talk about my passion is writing and I love it, right? My passion is making life sketches. So I can sit right in the nature and I can draw and sketch anything. For that, I really do not have to say, okay, fine, this is what I do to brand myself. Absolutely not. But this is something which helps me to be consistent in being happy, being focused, being relevant. And these are the very, very important things that helps me build my brand stronger. It helps me to create my brand stronger. It helps me to build my rapport to the team, right? So these are 8 steps that you see on my screen. If there are any leaders or the team members, communicators, it's very, very important for me to understand that I build an authentic rapport with others, right? And before even I talk about building an authentic rapport, I need to understand why it is important for me to build a rapport. When you are in a leadership, right, it is not only about you, or when you are working with people at office, it's not only about you, it's all about your team. You share the success, you share failure together, right, as a cohesive team. As a leader or as a good communicator, it is very, very important for you to uh, foster the responsibility or create an environment where your people are able to come and achieve their goals and objectives, right? Where they are independent enough and say, hey, okay, you know what? I have understood this and let me try and do this. So you are a person who knows how to create a rapport, and authentic rapport is when you would say, okay, fine, go ahead. Now I am right there to support you. And this is very important to make sure to have by a feeling, a concept, or a trust within the team wherein everyone shares a common definition. Everybody is aware about the goals and the objectives that the team comes with or the leader comes with. This always, while you build a rapport, this always involves an open communication, right? Which is always very important to create your vision and to make people follow your vision. You have to understand that coming off as a genuine person is very, very difficult rather than being coming as a robot, right? People would not have any relationships with a robot, right? They would always love to connect with people. How do I build a rapport? By being confident and real. People don't want to follow leaders who are uncertain and cannot have or cannot manage their anxiety levels because of the pressures they come with. They don't want to know the fake, they don't want to hear the fake promises. When they are struggling, when the team is struggling, somebody comes and says, hey, you know what? Let me see what best I can do. And he just goes off. So always remember when you are a leader or when you are working with people as a team member also, you express your value with confidence. That's the most important thing. And that's an outcome that you always receive as a strong backup from your team, right? It influences others to join to your vision. They also participate the same way, the way you want to achieve your goals. So people will naturally see how they look at you. They will only and only follow you or follow your lead because you know who you are and what you represent, how you represent. So consistency is the key to this, guys, right? Emphasizing on your personal brand through your actions is something that's gonna solidify your actions. So it's very, very important that you be confident and you be real, right? And that's how you're gonna create an impact to your team. How can I do that? How can I be confident and real? It's only and only when I accept the feedback in a positive way. When I see a feedback as an area of improvement for me, when I see, okay, fine. And feedback is, not always given the right way. It is most of the times we follow the feedbacks in a closed room. Most of the times we do not use a sandwich method of, telling them what you have done the best, then telling them, okay, this is something that you need to work on. And let me give you an action plan. The third slide will be, let me come with an action plan for you where you know how we can achieve it together. So the communication, which is a two-way process, we all are aware of. But this doesn't always help while we are giving a feedback, right? So remember, if you want to create a brand, this inviting genuine feedback is very, very important. Okay? Communication is a two-way process. And a strong leader is one who invites the strengths or invites the opinions, the interests of his team and allow them to, okay, fine, let's sit together and let's look at each one of our perspective. Not all of them do, right? So how do you wish or how do you feel that you can be unique? By not even accepting the feedback, by not even opening the lines of communication. And when you open the line of communication, when you make it as a two-way street, you are inspiring the renewed interest from your team, right? You are making your values, your vision very clear to them. You are encouraging them to do their best, right? A sense of purpose that, yes, I do belong to the team. And most of the times, you can only and only do this by presenting it professionally. This is very important, right? Most of the times, when I talk to people, be leaders or the ones who are a part of middle management, I always tell that the leadership is about expression, and you can express yourself in a number of different ways, right? But what matters the most is how do you establish a personal style as a leader? That is the key. That is something that I need to work on. If I am trying to climb the ladder of success to be a leader, right? What to wear, how you present yourself, the language that you use, the identity of yours, everything is what matters. Your appearances, your style choices are the easiest way to leave an impression, right? This is the way how I present my professionalism. Now, with that, I'm not saying that please go ahead and only buy the branded products, right? Because we're talking more about branding. Absolutely not. There's no need to sacrifice your personal grooming, right? But try and understand what you prefer to wear is something related to the area of your expertise, right? And that is very, very important. Living by your values is something, the most important key that I need to keep in mind when I'm working on my brand. I'm not here to make someone happy. When I'm working, if I am unique, if I have done something to be unique, yes, I have made a mark for myself, right? So I need to understand that I need to live with my values, with my ethics, because that is something that's gonna make people understand who am I, what am I, right? What are the skills that I come with, the abilities? Am I able to twist and turn, do some changes that can add as an icing on my cake? Yes, if I'm able to, I am a person who's ready to change for the betterment of myself and the people around me. Um, Finding my memorable moment is something that I always see missing with a lot of larger groups, So appreciating someone or appreciating yourself is something that we always need to focus on, right? And try and see that I would say that you might have the greatest personality. You might come with a strong knowledge in the world, right? But what if you are not you do not have a backup for what you are selling, right? If you are not, if you do not have a right opportunity, what are you going to do with the skills that you come with? What are you going to do with the communication that you come with the goals that you come in your mind, right? So finding that memorable moment or finding that right moment, examining the circles, that I need to hop and break out is something that I need to understand. And when I understand that these are the circles, these are the ways that I can break that silos around myself or the aura around myself, is when you build your persona, is when you build the right content for yourself, is when you start speaking to the people what you believe in, right? And this will make you a hero in time, but you have to be true to yourself. You have to live to your values, right? Just like every brand, every business has their own statements, right? So we do have our own statements. What we just need to do is we need to craft our values in such a way that people remember us for what we have done, right? And you should never let your people fall down. That is something that we should be taking care of. The tools and the channels that I need to create my brand, apart from the personal branding that I'm working on, right? Apart from getting my values and my passion, my strengths and my goals, aligning them to myself, I also need to understand that how can I build my social media presence, right? By going onto websites, by creating my portfolios, by being a part of blogs. So many a times we are on LinkedIn, right? Many a times we are on Twitter, participating in different groups. Not not all of us are good writers, but yes, we can contribute in some or the other way. Some can be good at writing, some can be good at speaking. So you can always ensure that you are aware of the information, you are aware of the knowledge that you come with, right? And you go to the podcast, you have n number of things in today's world, guys. Believe me, when I started my journey, and my boss always used to ask me, Snehal, think out of the box, add some new value to what you are doing. And I used to wonder, this was 23 years back, and I used to wonder, okay, what is that something that I need to add? Where can I get this idea from? How can I think out of the box? And I never used to get an answer for this question. When there was a person who came and explained me, one of my mentors who came and gave me that I mantra. And he said, Snehal, if you do not have an industry knowledge that you come with, right, you cannot use your intelligence to be innovative. And if you are not innovative, if you're not creating something new, I'm sure you are not the one who is working with integrity. So these four I's, industry, innovation, intelligence, and integrity, really helped me till this day, to understand and identify what's something new that I can do. Every week I have a presentation. Every week I have a new batch. I cannot work on the presentation that I have done in my last batch. I cannot do that because the people are different. The audience are different, right? So that is when I have to update myself. I have to update my social media, my social websites. I have to keep in touch with LinkedIn. I have to be a part of group. I have to make my presence active. And that's when it's gonna help me be better with what I'm doing. Right? So with these tools and channels and these webs and channels, we're gonna look into this in the later sessions or the webinars. But before we move ahead to this brand vision, mission, and value, we need to understand a simple thing, right? I'm sure you all would have planned some or the other thing in your summer vacation, wherein you have planned to go on a hike. And probably that might have been a new way for you. So nowadays we are very comfortable using our Google Maps, right? What if you're not aware of a destination? This Google Map helps you. But what if you're aware of your destination? You still use the Google Map. Okay, I know this is the place I need to go, but still I use a Google Map. What am I missing on? I am missing on the nature. I know what my way is. I am missing on an interaction with the close ones in the car. I am missing on my safety. The only reason I am focusing on something that I know, right? So does it really help me? My map, my working on the map would only and only be beneficial to me if it's a new territory for myself, right? So say, for example, you have changed your job or you are in a process of building a brand, which is something new for you, is yes, when you need a map, when you need directions, when you need to understand what are the values, what are the missions, what are the things that I need to do to create my vision statement. So if in order to build a brand, you need to understand these four things that you see on the screen, my goals. What is that something that I need to achieve for my goals, right? Because this is something that helps you to, it comes together and it helps you to create a personal brand with a vision statement. And whenever you have a vision statement, right? Whenever you have to create a vision statement, it's very simple. You need to focus on these things that you see on the screen, right? You have to have a pen and paper. Do not trust your hippocampus to an extent wherein I start mind mapping and I do not write it. So you have to ensure that you write your book, you write your passion. And this is how, believe me, if somebody would like to work with me on how to create their vision statement, we can do right away with this, right? Wherein you mention your strength and see, you would be able to create your vision statement, right? Let me take you to that canvas because that's something want to help you working on how to build a personal brand. Now, this personal branding, it's an action plan, okay? It's an action plan. It's a blueprint that will help you to not only develop your brand, but this is going to help you to target a promise to your audience. And this plan was designed uh, by by a person wherein he uh, let me remember the name of the person. Yes, this personal branding was created by Luigi Centaro, right? Wherein it it's such an easy plan that it helps the individuals to create a blueprint for themselves. It gives you a systematically process to think about where you are, what you need to improve on. And the good thing about this tool is that this is a very holistic tool. And when I say holistic, it does not only help you professionally, but it helps you personally. It gives you a holistic and visual approach. You can create and map out all your personal branding elements in just one page, right? It is very practical, it is user friendly, and it gives you a strategic overview of what do we do with that, right? So if you see what do you do, right? Services that you offer, who you are, what is who you are? It's your core identity. What you offer is something, what are your key capabilities, right? What are you credible for? Are there reasons to believe in yourself? What benefits do you provide to your customers, right? Is when I understand your value proposition, right? Why you? Why am I positioning you? Why you are the one that I want to believe in you and I want you to take it ahead with you, right? So positioning is very, very important. How do I know your communication channel? How have you made your online presence? How have you branded yourself? Is it only with the people around you, or have you also targeted your audience via different channels? Right? What you need. It's very simple. That what are the things that you want to invest in yourself to build your brand success? And the end of this canvas, it helps you to understand what you get. You get visibility, the results, you get awareness of who you are, what you are, what do I need to add and delete. Do I get recognition by building a personal brand? Yes, absolutely. Do people remember me for what I am or for the actions that I have taken? What have I done for them? Right? So this makes a very memorable channel for you where people not only know you for who you are, but they also know you for what you are. So if somebody would like to work on this with me, I am ready to go ahead and work on this personal canvas. So you have to just choose your colors, your brushes, your paints, your pencils, and you need to start writing it, right? What services do I offer, right? What is my professional history? What's my educational background? See, everywhere when we are creating a brand, there's one thing which is very common. Throughout building a brand is what you're passionate, what you're passionate about. How do you want to add value to your life. Right? Anybody who would like to work on this? Yes, Steve? With this, I'm sure you would have had got an idea of how do I create my personal brand? How do I create my statement? How do I create my vision? Any questions I would like you to add in a Q&A section, I would be very happy to answer. I'll try my best to answer.
Yes, so if you have any questions, you can ask Snehal right now. So she'll clear all your doubts and queries. Also, I'm posting his email ID on the chat box. So if you have any questions, you can always write an email to this email ID also. Our team will get back to you. Come on, guys, you don't have any questions? Session was really
So you know what?
impactful.
There is this fear of not having questions in most of the sessions. Either I have understood everything what you said, Snehal, or I haven't understood a bit of what you said. So I wanted to understand where are we right now, because if you do not have any questions, it's something that we need to think about, right? So please feel free to ask anything that comes to your mind, guys. There's nothing right or wrong. It's all about understanding our value and adding to our best.
Yes, also the chat is enabled now, so you can also chat if you're unable to talk.
Sachet, Selva, let me see who all are there.
Yes, we have
Anusha. Anusha, thank you so much for answering the questions, and you were quite active. I am so sorry I was not able to, look at the answers while I was presenting. Roy. Correct me if I pronounce the name correctly. Kehinde.
Yeah, so there's a question from Selva Kumar. So it's how to build good CV.
Oh, very good question. So, Selva Kumar, I would request you to first of all understand the your goals and objectives, the values, the strengths, and in our next session we are going to work on building your resume, your the resume that's going to help you understand the mindset of a recruiter, right, or the interviewer. So yes, you have to be with me for the next session where we are going to work on how do I enhance my skills, or how do I make my online presence strong. Right? Okay. Thank you, Kehinde, if I have pronounced your name correctly. So we have more sessions upcoming on resume building, LinkedIn profile, how do you create your presence, right, and so on. So we would be working on different styles of resumes as well, understanding the right styling of what resumes are, because it's one thing that keeps updating and keeps getting changed all the time, right? So we have to ensure that we create a right resume. And yes, stay connected. If we have no questions, Soumya, I see no questions coming up. So with that, guys, I hope I was able to add value to today's session of understanding how do I build or how do I create a personal brand. Yes, cover letter is playing a major role in CV selection. Absolutely, Selva Kumar, I echo your thought. And there is a way we write. So I would not suggest you guys to take help of ChatGPT or take help of Google. It's your objective. It's your cover letter. It's your experience, your strength. So I would help you curate your resumes in your own words, which would make you understand, oh, was it so easy to create a resume? There are some techniques of creating resumes and cover letters, which we are going to cover in the next session.
Thank you, Selva Kumar, for the questions. And do you have any questions coming in?
I do not see any questions coming in, but guys, try and work on your personal brand. That's very, very important. That's going to help you to differentiate yourself from others. Believe in yourself, be happy, embrace your happiness, be passionate, be crazy for learning. And with that, thank you so much to be on this session with me. And I really appreciate you guys to have your patience and listen to someone for an hour, which is not an easy job. Thank you so much. And I would take I would not take much time of yours. And a very goodbye and have a safe evening.
Thank you, Snehal. It was a wonderful
Thank you,
session.
Soumya.
And thank you once again for everyone for being till now. So I think we have extended the time, but it's okay. It was a wonderful session. As the link is already on the chat box, please visit the website and please get registered for the upcoming sessions. We see you in the next sessions. Thank you so much, everyone.